Welcome to Basket Case Builds. Today we're going to be rebuilding one of these. A front master cylinder on an 09 KX250F. Let's do it. As the reservoir is full, we need to empty it via this bleed nipple here. Dust cover there, and we'll use a syringe and suck out the fluid until we get it low enough. Right, we've sucked our reservoir down. I just used a basic syringe, a piece of fuel line. As you saw, I just put it on the bleed nipple and sucked it down, and you'll see that when you take the cover off, it should be as good as empty. Cover's off. See, there's nothing in the reservoir. Alright, circlip off first, retainer washer, followed by the piston assembly. And fluid. Alright, let's reseal it, assemble it. I'll have a look down the bores and make sure it's not worn or scratched. Alright, this is a kit we've got. It's an all balls product, designed for the, obviously, this KXF. It's a rebuild kit, sticker, gives you a new dust boot, the piston seals, the return spring, retainer and circlip. You get your 2 screws for the master cylinder lid, and also 2 copper washers for where the master cylinder hose joins the master cylinder. Said it's an all balls product, and that is the part number. It suits a wide variety, anything from CRs to KXs to KDXs to XRs, so it's obviously a pretty generic thing. We're back in the shed. I actually took the cylinder off the bike, it was just unmanageable. Had a bit of a look, cleaned the cylinder up, degreased it. It looks good inside. It's going to be hard for you to see, but there's no real marks, just the drilling down the bottom there for your brake line. And so you can see the port, small port there, which is from your reservoir. I actually found the problem with this seal why I couldn't get it to bleed. It'll do it every time. Just letting oil go past. So yeah. Quick degrease later. Alright, in this kit it's the 171002 is the bigger one, which will go there. And the 171001 goes, the smaller center obviously goes there. I just use brake fluid, as that's what it's going to run in. Always use the right fluid. If you use the wrong fluid, you can swell your seals and no brakes. This bike, use only .3 or 4 brake fluid from a sealed container. Just got some Repco .4. We're using most stuff. I'll put that in a small clean container. Alright, we've got lubricated. Now, being that that's bigger than everything, but I'll probably end up going this way. Alright, that was nasty. I put the seal under there, you probably see me struggling. And I just slowly wound it over. But it has to go that way with the bigger flared end pointing that direction. This one's not going to be as bad. Alright, there you go. It's not very friendly, but you got to do a little bit of stretching and use, they're not sharp, they're very dull ends on the O-ring picks I have, and they don't give much drama. Alright, let's lubricate it up. We'll put the spring on, we'll lubricate the bore and put the cylinder and the piston assembly together. It just clips on. Drop some lube, more brake fluid down the cylinder. Lubricate out. Now when putting it together, make sure you don't peel the lip of the seal backwards or catch it or tear it. I'll bring you down closer. Let's get this in. Move him around a bit. There we go. Really pick in here and see if I can push this side down. There we go. Now I'll get, that's it. You hear it click in. There it goes. That's what you want. And make sure it's, yep, got both its ears in the recess. The ears of the circlip. Alright, one boot. I'll give you a new boot, number 174001. It goes on as it comes out of the bag. There's a steel, so I don't know if it's steel or not, but it's got a hard ring here, and that is pushed into that crevice there. So it goes over like that. You need to massage it over the lip so your lever doesn't press on the rubber. And then the dust seal just pushes into place. So you generally use a small screwdriver. It'll only go in as far as the circlip sits, so it's sort of sitting flush. Won't go any further. So this fella, yeah, he's in. So now when your lever hits, keeps the dust out. Alright, we'll bolt our lever on, we'll lube it up. So this is just wheel bearing grease. When putting this pin in, you can't just leave it in a nice neutral position just resting on the piston, because it's not center. You actually have to compress the piston, and there it's lined up. I just did it before, it took me forever to work it out, but basically put it against a solid surface, put my gut against the master cylinder, and try and get it central. If you don't get it spot on, it's not going to happen for you. I think that started. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there we go. Just remember, you have to have it slightly compressing that piston down to line that hole up. Nip this up, put the lock nut on it, and get back to the bike. Alright, we're back at the bike. It's all bolted up, operates smoothly. You bolt this on, make sure your up's up and your downs are down. Alright, let's fit it. It's back on the bike, throttle's nice and positioned again. It works when I first put it on. I don't know if you noticed it on the time lapse, but I pushed it too far that way, so the end of the throttle tube was actually rubbing on the handlebar, which caused it to stick, so it's not what you want. This is set up reasonably level across the plane, and the bike is in the neutral position, just for the sake of ease for bleeding. Once it's bled up, I can change it. Yeah, so let's bleed it. I'm going to be using a .4 again, and we'll fill it up. Just using a Repco .4 again. Make sure you're in an area, if you spill it like I just did then, that you're on an area where it doesn't matter if it, whatever it lands on. There are plenty of ways to bleed this. I use a syringe. That of all things, that syringe is out of a windscreen repair kit and a piece of just your flexible fuel hose from a small engine shop. I put it on the bleed nipple down the bottom and I draw the fluid from here down through the line until I get no air. And then there is another way you can do it. You can fill this with fluid and reverse bleed it by sending the fluid back up. The other way is the traditional way of pumping the handle, holding it and then releasing the pressure that's built up at the bleed nipple down the bottom. Do that till the air's all out of it. Now with this type of bike you don't even need to pull the lever to open any ports. It will bleed this way just by putting a vacuum. I'll make that easier by putting that on there. By pulling a vacuum and then cracking the bleed nipple down the bottom. Alright, let's go. Vacuum. And you lock it off under vacuum. Alright, we've got our gasket. If you overfill your reservoir, it will spew out everywhere. Just be careful of your height. Cap. Now I'm not using the new screws supplied because the old ones are perfectly good. I'll keep them for rainy day. Nice lever there. There you have it. It's not a massive job. The hardest bit's getting the seals back over the piston, but persistence pays off. Thanks for watching Basket Case Builds. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and come back for more videos.